So today I'm excited to have a guest who embodies passion in multiple areas of life. He's a Christian, husband, dad, lover of Jesus and jiu-jitsu. He's also a nationally ranked realtor, TV host, and now a rising YouTube sensation. Please welcome Adam Stults.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
It means a lot. I appreciate you saying that. But no, I'm happy to be here with you, brother.
You are one of the hardest people to nail down to do something with it.
I have a lot of irons and a lot of fires.
I can tell. Apparently, food brings you to the table. So here we are. Speaking of which, let's dive into what we have in front of us before we get started. We have Chuck Wagon Barbecue.
Oh, man.
The brisket plate, which is, in my opinion, probably the best in Huntsville. Might I say national?
I won't argue.
Good. We're here with Chuck Wagon Food because...
Big shout out to Steven.
That's right. Steve-O.
Steve, you're the man.
You had the opportunity, while being a host for a TV show, to interview Steven at Chuck Wagon and kind of go through his restaurant and see their operation there, which was really cool.
Absolutely.
Really cool.
Hearing the stories and how it went from the original little shop in Madison to their new brick and mortar.
Right. How they incorporated stuff from the old building
I love it.
into the new.
Yeah.
And how you can kind of see some of the history that they have there. That's
stuff like that.
That's really cool. So that's what we have in front of us today. We're going to be chowing down on it as we kind of, run through some questions with Adam here.
I'm really excited.
We're going to cut. Let's dig in, sir.
Yeah.
He was generous enough to give us some smoked sausages as well, it looks like. Smoked sausage.
For those of you who have not been to his restaurant, oh my goodness, please make sure you go because it is worth the trip.
Yeah.
Well, it's worth multiple trips. So,
Right.
What all did you get? So you got potato salad and the baked beans?
Yeah, so they kind of split our sides up. It looks like they gave both of us baked beans, which I'm not mad at whatsoever. Some cornbread
meat in there
with some jalapeno in it. Yep. Yeah, I think we got some old sticks of meat and the baked beans. And you have, I believe, mac and cheese.
Not complaining. I'm just going to say real quick, Heavenly Father, I thank you for this time. I thank you for this time with Joseph. I thank you for Steve and Chuck Wagon Barbecue for providing this food. And please use it to nourish our bodies and our taste buds because I know it will. But I'm thankful for this day and I'm thankful for you, my man. When I pray this in your son's precious name, amen.
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 Thanks for that, man. I was just going to be a ruthless dog. Junk bread.
No, it's all right, man. Hey, God knows where your heart is.
That's right. Even if we don't sometimes. So,
man, if this is wrong, I don't want to be right. I'm just getting in here like this is my own plate, so my apologies.
Cheers now, sir.
Yeah.
Cheers now.
The TV show that you mentioned, man, it was such a cool experience because I got to go around and meet super cool people like Steve and enjoy these great stories and great food and made a lifelong friend. I mean, we're all three buddies now.
We're brothers. That's right. I've known you for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And I think you're a Hazel Green native.
I'm a Reynolds Green native.
That's right.
I think we missed each other by
A couple of years.
Yeah.
One or two.
But yeah, no, we met. We met. Yeah, Hazel Green map is very loose. But yeah, we did meet. And I can't remember who recommended me to you, but I'm always a fan of a referral. And look what that blossomed into.
Absolutely.
Because again, now I consider you a real good friend. So
I appreciate that. Yeah. And you as well. And have you been to Hazel Green lately?
Oh yeah.
I love it.
It's not the same.
No, it's not.
It's not the same. Whenever I saw a Mattress King and kind of Starbucks and stuff, I was like, what happened to my home? But good for those people because, I mean, when I lived there, you really had to go to town.
Yeah.
Get anything.
It was literally a horse and buggy ride into town is what it felt like out there.
Oh, and I was there before the overpasses too.
Were you really?
Oh, yeah.
So I grew up on Carragher Road, and Mr. Carragher farmed his fields across the street from us, and that was it. It was farmland.
Oh, yeah.
I think at the time there were 4 homes built on Carragher Road, and now it just exploded into, I don't know what you want to call it now.
I grew up down Charity Lane, so
I'm familiar.
Yeah, so whenever I would head down Charity Lane for at least a mile and a half, it was just all fields.
Yeah.
Now it's all houses and a Walmart.
You got a super Walmart, bro.
Man, these kids don't know how good they got. I'm going to keep saying that every time I go out there.
and it's like a 9A school now or something. I don't know what, like how ridiculous. So when I was going to high school there, they built that new high school, right? And now they built a high school around the old high school that I have. So it's like a fortress. Good for them. They're still rowdy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad to say. I mean, I don't keep up with anything from Hazel Green anymore. I know some people like still go to sporting events. And I'm like,
Yeah.
which I don't have time. I mean, I don't mean that in an ugly way.
Yeah.
Still, Hazel Green's in my heart, but
In the hearts and minds of everyone.
I got kids.
Well, I got kids that go to Buckhorn, and Hazel Green and Buckhorn really don't mix very well. So we try to keep them separated.
So we did the same thing.
Yeah.
We went, I grew up in Hazel Green and lived a life for a little while and then ended up in Buckhorn. And my kids are Buckhorn Bucks.
Right. Yeah.
Never thought I would say that, but there's I don't even plan out there.
Yeah. What's the statute of limitations for fighting in high school? I don't know. I think we're past that, but
We're well past it.
okay. Yeah. I remember meeting up in the Publix parking lot just to meet some Buckhorn people. When we were, just doing ridiculous kids things and stuff.
Just go chop it up a little bit. And what's funny is a lot of those people that I didn't get along with back then are all now good friends.
Right.
Yeah. So it's good to grow up and move on.
I mean, you could have just finished as it's good to grow up.
That's a very good point. Yeah, that's a very good point. I am thankful for growing up.
So another episode that we filmed while doing the TV show is your passion for jiu-jitsu.
Oh, man, yeah.
Which opened the door for me because I've never really, I've had people and friends involved with jiu-jitsu, but I've never been in an environment like that. And I believe, is it Mavericks?
It is Maverick, yep. And it's right. It's downtown, so it's walking distance from my office. But I'm very thankful because I had a good friend who kept telling me to go. And I mean, one of the biggest things is, I needed to start getting back in shape. And I like to make the joke that I don't like to lift weights because weights are heavy. It's science, look it up. But, I've always been drawn to the mixed martial arts world. Not that I've ever been good at it or anything, but it was a great opportunity because I got in there and started getting my life back in shape for real. I've made friends with so many amazing men in there from all walks of life, and it's crazy how you can walk into a gym, look at somebody and shake their hand and be like, all right, I'm about to beat you up or you're about to beat me up. And then when you're done beating each other up, you hug each other and make sure each other's okay.
You okay? Yeah.
I think that's one of the most amazing things about it is the respect factor and the unassuming factor, because I'm 6'2", 235 pounds, and there are people who are smaller than me in size, weight, everything. They can beat the brakes off me. I don't mind it, because I respect it. Because it's such an amazing skill, and I think it's a life skill too. I do say that I think every person should know how to handle themselves should a bad situation happen. I'm thankful for that.
That's the style where it is more of an art form instead of sheer brute force. Knowing what pressure points, knowing, how to submit people, knowing how to take them to the ground control.
Ground control is the biggest thing.
Right.
I don't know the statistics, so I'll make it up, but, almost every street fight goes to the ground. Well, if you're good at jiu-jitsu, you don't really shine until you go to the ground.
Everyone thinks the fight's over when you hit the ground. No, it's just beginning.
It's time to really get to
it. You almost see the fight leave the person's eyes when they know that, oh crap, I picked the wrong person to mess with.
And sometimes quick.
It's at that point, you want to keep going or you want to stop? Yeah. And you behave.
Look like a normal.
Right. Yeah. Grow up.
Yeah, exactly.
We're back to the grow up.
We better grow up quick.
The confidence that it instills in people, especially if you start your children in it, give them confidence to know that they can handle. If everybody just knew what they were capable of, the world would be a chiller place.
I couldn't agree more. And stuff like that right there, that's a prime example of getting humbled, because like you mentioned, we were all young and dumb once, and I'm not saying I'm super smart now. But
speak for yourself, bro.
I was at least. But yeah, I don't go around getting into silly scuffles like I used to. All it takes is getting humbled one or two good times, and you're like, okay, I know my place. Jiu-jitsu though is amazing. If anybody has never tried it, I highly encourage it, because man. Oh, and going back to the relationships you meet in there, that's another amazing thing. Like I said, there's people from all walks of life, and there are guys now that we talk at we'll reach out to each other on Christmas to be like, hey man, just want to tell you Merry Christmas. I'm thankful to have you in my life.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, I would have never known who they were walking down the street.
Right.
Now we're congrats on your baby, and I hope I hope everything's going well.
Yeah, they live different than you, and you don't really necessarily think that you would have something in common, but then you realize you actually have more in common than you think. I think that breaks the barriers, and then it just allows it to open up from there.
I love that, and especially considering the world we live in now, with so many people have such different views, and I wish people would take into consideration that just because you believe one thing doesn't mean you're right or wrong, and just because I believe in something doesn't mean I'm right or wrong, but we could probably still find some good common ground to still have a basic relationship around.
Right. Or we can fight it out.
Exactly. I'd like to go, as a Christian man, I'd like to just talk it out. But
Yeah, but if that goes back to being confident about knowing, how to take people to the ground, and then everybody respects you.
Yes. Yeah, jiu-jitsu is something that I hope I get to do for the rest of my life. And we travel around the South. Like I've been lucky enough to compete a few times, and you will see men out there that are seriously in their 70s and 80s, and I try to always pick them out, and I'll go talk with them. And it's just amazing hearing how they've done this for 40, 30 years, or they found it when they were my age. I mean, I started it at an old age, but to say I love it's an understatement. And again, getting back into a reasonable, respectable shape has been, it's been a huge blessing. It's changed my life. I don't want to say jiu-jitsu has saved my life, because that's a little bit dramatic, but as far as changing my life goes, it's changed it for the better on so many fronts. And like I said, I see these older gentlemen and older women who are still out there, man, just hip tossing each other around. You're like, oh man. And to me, you can either go to being a older, feeble person, or you can go to somebody who can still go out there and train with great grandchildren.
Yeah, it is fun. I don't know if you toss your kids around the house or not.
Absolutely.
I think roughhousing is one of the funnest things that you can do around the house. It's just,
well, my son,
like, whoa.
Yeah, I love it. But I think you should always toughen your kids up to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
But my son does jiu-jitsu at the same gym. And he just started wrestling at Buckhorn.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to make some future MMA killer, but I am trying to make a well-rounded young man who's tough, but has respect for everyone. And I think that's another thing that it teaches. There's always somebody better.
Right.
So always remember
1,000%. Yeah.
Always somebody better, no matter how bad you are. Well, I guess unless you're maybe like John Jones or George St. Pierre. Like, I think maybe
the top of
probably Madison.
But I mean, what's the chances of you running into someone?
Slim to none. There, if I do, I hope it's on good terms. Right. I'll tell you that. I hope I'm asking on the graphs.
Walk around with a Sharpie just in case.
This is my weapon. We signed this. I can't get enough of this food, brother.
I was gonna say, like, during the edits, they're just gonna see the food like go down and.
Where's the continuity?
If you notice the reality shows, they're always drinking out of those brass cups. It's for that very reason. I did have one more question for you about jiu-jitsu. I saw that you had ranked first in a competition. I think it was the beginning of the year, was it? Or what competition was that?
Yeah, so I competed in Franklin, Tennessee. I did 2 earlier this year, and one I was fortunate enough to win my division in gi and no gi. And I will say that one gave me a little bit of an inflated ego.
Oh no!
Because I went to one called IBJJF, which is like the gold standard of jiu-jitsu. And
no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. But that's I don't know the best analogy, but like that's the one that people base where people rank in the world on.
Yeah.
And yeah, needless to say, I would have had 4 matches. Got to my first opponent, which I will say that, again, thanks to jiu-jitsu, I'm 6'2", 240 something at the time. The first guy I beat was 6'3" or 6'4", and he was over 300 pounds.
Okay.
So I got him. But then the next gentleman, and I'll use the word gentleman loosely because he assaulted me, but he was also,
you, sir, are no gentleman.
Yes, not at all. No, he actually was really kind. We actually still kept up on Facebook. But now he he humbled me pretty quick. He probably humbled me within a minute, 2 minutes, and yeah, but you need those.
Yeah.
Because one of the guys I went up against was again another large giant of a man, and I got him. But
Yeah. I think,
yeah, there's always somebody badder.
right. I was going to say, I think that leads us back to there's always somebody bigger and badder out there.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I love it. And I think the cool part about competition is, I'm such a small peon on the big scale of jiu-jitsu. I mean, like, so many people can whip me, but the competition aspect of it, I like it because it actually makes you start treating yourself and your body like a little bit of an athlete. You start watching what you're eating, you start training harder, you make sure you're getting rest, and like all around you feel really good. And it's like, no, why don't I do this all the time?
Yeah.
But then you compete, and then you're like, screw that for a while, and then you go back to like, I'm going to live a normal life.
I was going to say, it's like, sacrifice now to benefit later, but it's really like you just sacrifice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you get tossed around on the floor and then sacrifice some more.
Yep. And there's people at our gym that they live the competition life. I mean, I bet they compete once or twice a month. Well, I'd say at least once a month, which to me is a lot. That's a whole lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, these guys live for it, man. And we're always very supportive of each other. And, we'll come in there when people are training for something, you rally the troops and
Right.
you all show up to help them compete. And again, these are all people who are way better than me, but I'm sitting there, I was like, hey, well, yeah, I'll give up my body for an hour and a half so you can get better and go.
Well, I think that's an important thing that you bring up there is if they are better than you and you are around them, then you're going to see their workflow, their ethics,
Absolutely.
That starts to bleed off on you.
Oh, yeah.
After a certain period of time. And I think that's why it's important to choose who you're around. To make sure that you are going to the place that you really want to, get to.
Man, I'm glad you just said that, because I think that opens up so many things for all aspects of life. Like, I've always said you should build a circle around you. Like I have a friend who is he's such a good Christian man who knows, I can talk to him about something and, he'll be like, well, if Paul said this in this book, or, in the book of Romans or in the book of Galatians, like he'll spat off Bible verses or instances. And I'm like, whoa, I needed that. Then I have business friends who, when I'm like, if I'm ever feeling complacent or if I look like I might be lazy, they're like, hey man, let's do this or let's look at that. And it wants me to level up. I have a friend who's super into nutrition. And he'll hold me to a stand.
He'll watch this and be like, I saw you had seconds.
Yeah. But it's mainly protein, right?
Sure.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, I think it's good to surround yourself with people who are going to make you want to be a better person.
Oh yeah. Like accountability partners, I think it goes down is like how you achieve success greater than what you could by yourself.
Yeah, and that's one thing. I've been very fortunate, talking about the business side of stuff. I've been very fortunate, like with real estate, and I went off to college. I did not graduate. I was asked to leave. I could have very easily had a much different path. Thankfully, God put good people in my life that was like, hey man, you're screwing up now, but we're not going to let you be a screw up for forever.
Right.
And if I think about where I'm at now, I know where I want to be, but I'm so far from where I used to be.
Right.
And yeah, I think again, it goes back to who you're around, what you want to get out of life, and things like that. And what's important, because what's important to me now was not important to me 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Or even a year ago, maybe. But it's amazing how little things can change your perspective on so many things.
Right. And it's not like it's influence or, to do the wrong thing is there all the time, but it just takes that one trigger moment, and who you're around decides if you're going to do that.
Oh yeah.
Or if you're going to go the other way. And that makes all the difference. And that's why it's so important to be, choose your friends wisely, because
what's the saying? Show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Mm-hmm.
I think about that a lot. And that's never to turn my back on friends or say I'm better than anyone, because I'm far from that. People can have a major impact and influence on you that can really change your life.
Yeah.
And it's always something that needs to be really guarded, because we don't get another chance.
Absolutely.
One bad instance can change your life. And I think about all of the things that I was spared from in terms of dumb things I did that really could have ruined my life.
Oh, yeah.
And that's another reason why, you know, you mentioned my major love for Jesus, and unfortunately, I didn't always put that at the forefront of my life. But man, there were a lot of instances where, I mean, shoulda, coulda, woulda been arrested or in some type of incident that could have landed me behind bars for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
I won't say all the time, but I think about that a lot.
I put myself in situations all the time. Yeah, I could.
I put myself in them up here, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's you got to think about stuff. Yeah, the little jalapeno flakes in it, the little pieces. Yeah. That's something else, man, when it hits.
Uh-oh.
So glad you got this tablecloth. How are you doing on your... You've already knocked back the brisket. Man.
Dude, I'm trying not to eat so fast.
I want some more.
Oh, I'm good, dude. I'll eat some side. So, like back in the Marine Corps days, I have not been able to shake it, but they make you eat in like a minute. And I can't. I love food so much, and I just can't. I just want to eat it.
Plus, I talk a lot, so
Yeah.
it helps me that I don't eat too fast because I'm usually running my mouth.
This may help me, like doing a podcast while I'm eating, to be more cognizant of like, don't eat. It's so much. You gotta eat. No, I'll try. Oh, I will. It's like, oh, don't worry. Off camera, I'm gonna eat.
Well, see, that's how my wife is. She's a school teacher, so she's used to.
God bless her.
Oh yeah, she's an amazing woman, but she's used to punching everybody's little lunch numbers in. And by the time she's done with that, she's got 5 minutes to eat, so she eats prison style, and then she goes.
Rake it in.
Yes. Like I said, I talk too much to eat fast. Although I could eat faster because this is so good.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say this one more time. If you have not gone to Chuck Wagon, please do.
Dude, potato salad is out of this world.
It's all so good.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about like your, what you have going on. I love all this. I mean, I mean it when I say I'm so thankful to be sitting here with you. I always have the best time. When we did
This is ridiculous.
when we did that TV show together, we have 6 episodes.
Yeah. I was trying to think of how many and where we all went, because it's...
Let's see, we did jiu-jitsu, we did Chuck Wagon, we did the brewery, we did the Bucks Mill,
Yeah.
Tennessee.
What brewery did we do?
Beezer.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Hey, I saw that Doug left.
No way.
Yeah.
No, man.
Doug took another job.
Oh, bummer.
Hey, we're to the corporate world. Yeah. Good for Doug.
Follow that money.
Yeah, I'm happy for you, Doug. From filming that to now you're in front of the camera, which you should be.
Yeah. You think so?
Yeah, man. You have a lot to offer people. I always love hanging out with you. And every time I would tell my wife we would shoot an episode, I'm like, freaking love that guy.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man. My main jam, Jimmy Jam, for those of you who don't know, I do real estate media, and it gets repetitive, and it doesn't allow you to kind of flex your creativity in the way that you want to, especially in this market in Huntsville. This market is very traditional. It's very by the book. They don't like to get outside the lines too much. And that can kind of cramp creativity and style. Like, how can I continue to serve my clients and my community? Because it does go back to the filming for the TV shows. I love filming for small businesses. I think they are the most underrated here in Huntsville.
Oh.
No one pays them any attention unless they have to go there. There's so many great little mom and pop shops and, little startups that don't get the recognition that they need to, just because they either don't know how to market themselves, or they're so busy in their business they don't have time to make content for their business. I find that I'm going to try to use this as a channel to kind of bring people in and introduce things. So
I love it.
That's the main purpose behind it, and to get people like you like recognition and get you out in front. You are doing great things for the community, and I think it's just for Huntsville and how the economy is going, we're not bad here. Like, our economy is great, and people just have this, because of all this stupid stuff on the news, they have this false reality that the world is away, when if they would just step outside and see how great Huntsville is, they would realize that we have a lot going on for the good.
Absolutely.
And people need to be introduced to that.
Yeah, and going back to, going back to people thinking all these negative things, that's another thing I wish people like, and stuff like this will hopefully change. I mean, I don't want to be corny, but it could change lives. But
Yeah.
you know, I again, just going back to jiu-jitsu real quick, but it's somebody, you know, made the comment about me like, oh, I bet you think or feel this way, and you know, and it actually ended up turning into like an hour and a half long conversation just standing there.
Yeah.
But you know, they had one worldview and I have another worldview. They made the comment about my worldview, and then I started talking about it, and they were like, well, hang on, we're actually not that different. And again, I think that's what it goes back to. You see all the negative on the news, and you know, you hear about the economy, and yes, I mean,
there's segments in the economy that is not doing so great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I have been fortunate enough to not feel those impacts as much as most people have. And I realize that. And if you knew my story, like I was almost homeless if I didn't have family around. They provided me shelter to live for a while until I could get back on my feet. So I do know what it's like to not know where your next, you know, meal is going to come from. So that's another thing that I want to do with this is, you know, kind of have it as a platform for people to use and stuff. So,
well, and I respect that because again, like it goes back to you can either sulk, you can take the news as the truth, or you can watch the news and think, I'm not going to let that affect me.
yeah.
And I think that's what more people need to do is just try to, you know, you can't control what happens in politics, and we're not, you know, I know we're not going into politics, but you can't control what happens to so many aspects of your life or outside of your life. So why don't you just focus?
You can control you.
Yeah.
You can take control of your life.
Yeah. Focus on what you can control.
Yeah.
A guy from one of my Bible study groups, he did one of the best exercises I've ever seen in my life, but he came and he had a hula hoop. And everybody thought that he was going to start hula hooping in front of everybody, and it was like, oh man, this is going to be a show. But actually what he did is he stood there and he dropped the hula hoop. And he said, everybody needs to realize that you can only control the person inside the hula hoop. He's like, I can't control my spouse. I can't control my children. I mean, you think you can to a certain degree, but human nature is going to have somebody act how they want to act for the most part. But you, on the other hand, you can control yourself. And and again, I think if more people took that to heart and just like, hey, I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to get this, that, and the other right. And then when you're right, that just helps spread positivity and help spread other things. And
absolutely.
Again, talking about like going back to small businesses, that's one thing that I love is how positive and appreciative all those people are that you meet. And they're so thankful. Like, you know, the episodes we did, there's like, thank you so much for filming here. Like, this means everything to us. I'm like, hey, you kidding me? Thank you for letting us come.
Yeah. We needed content, man.
I don't realize. I think you know us that more than we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, you meet so many amazing, beautiful people who have such amazing and beautiful stories. And you're just like, man.
Yeah.
You also hear people's stories that make you appreciate, like, you know, you think about your position in life, and it's like, I complain about a lot and that person doesn't complain at all.
Yeah.
And I'm in a much better position. And that's another thing too, that has changed, another thing that has completely changed my perspective on life. And again, just, you know, jumping back into church for a minute, but I started attending church on Saturdays, and part of it is just called Prayer Saturday, but like you get the opportunity to read people. It's anonymous for the most part, but you get to read people's like prayer requests. And man, you see what people are going through in life, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I feel like such a jerk for even spending 2 minutes worrying or complaining about A, B, or C after what I just read about what that person's going through.
Right.
And man, it's the perspective that just, I mean, it hits you right in the heart, it hits you in the stomach, but everyone goes through stuff and everyone goes through a lot.
Right. Yeah. And it's all about what you're going through today isn't forever. It's just a season. Times will change. Again, it goes back to just how beneficial that is, because if you take it and you apply it to your personal life, you know, like, man, I'm having a hard time focusing and just push through it, like get it done. And that's always good.
Couldn't be more true about that, because, yeah, there's, especially when I started, And I think about that a lot too. I think about where I was when I started. I mean, I got winded walking up the stairs, and everybody was just tapping me out left and right. And I pushed through it, and now these people that used to beat the crap out of me, I'm not saying I beat the crap out of them, but they're definitely not beating the crap out of me anymore.
Who's laughing now?
Yeah. But yeah, it gives you a chance to really realize, hey man, if I just really focus on pushing through this, I can get out of this.
Yeah.
And that applies to so many aspects of life. How many times I've been sitting here getting smothered by somebody and I feel like I'm about to die. But now it's like, all right, I got myself into this situation. Now how am I going to get out?
Yeah.
And it keeps you calm. And when you're calm in a bad situation, man, that changes everything.
Dude, that's exactly right. And that goes back to kind of the audiobooks I've been listening to, self-reflection. That's exactly right. Because when you make decisions in a place that you're not you're not in the right mind to begin with, you're going to make the wrong decisions 1,000% of the time.
Absolutely.
But if you can, if you can just calm everything, slow everything down, think through the situation and be like, what's the best case scenario here?
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah. Like you said, I got myself here. How am I going to get myself out?
Yep. Yeah. Because believe it or not, there's like 1,000 ways.
Yeah, there really are if you just give it.
Yeah. If you just give it time and think about it,
Yeah.
there's literally 1,000 things that you could do that will get you out of your situation.
Yeah.
So you mentioned church several times, and I wanted to talk about that because in my research of you, I found that you started a YouTube channel.
I did.
What is that YouTube channel called, and what's it about?
So it's called Building God's Army, and man, I'll try to give the short version of the story.
Give the version that needs to be given.
There you go. So we'll just say sometime early last year, actually my New Year's resolution in 2023 in 2022 for the year of 2023 was to read the Bible. I've always been a believer in Jesus, but I for a long time I did not walk in the light. So I was like, all right, I need to start cleaning stuff up for my life because, I mean, I'm a father and I'm a husband, and, I always just want to be a good example for my family. But so I made this conscious effort, and I was like, all right, I'm going to start getting closer to God. Well, I have severe ADHD. I have a hard time reading a dinner menu, and I love to eat. And so reading the Bible was a little more challenging than what I thought it would be. So I was like, all right, I'll try to figure something else out. Started watching, just YouTube videos and things and learning stories of the Bible. And I kind of learned I learned a lot about the Bible like a kid would. There's a series on YouTube called Bible Project, and they're amazing. But they draw out and illustrate stories of the Bible in 10 to 15 minute videos. So I started doing that. And then early this year, I was like, all right, I'm going to really start getting closer to God, and I'm going to do everything I can. And I cleaned up a lot of the stuff out of my life, and I'm still very far from perfect, but I removed what I would consider to be the nasty out of my life. And so then I started attending Highlands, and that was amazing. And I was like, man, I'm sold, I'm in, I'm home, like all this is great. And I reached out to my office, and I was like, hey guys, like I'm a Christian, but I'm not a very knowledgeable Christian, and I want to be. Like, I want to be like my friend Tyler. I want to be there for other people like he is for me. Like, man, I'm going through something. Hey, buddy, and the Bible says this, and it's just like, I want to be that for other people. And so I asked to do a Bible study at the office. Well, that started off pretty cool. And, well, in the midst of that, I was like, all right, maybe we can take the Bible study and I can figure out a way to put that on social media, and other people can learn from what we're studying in our Bible study group.
Right.
So I was all gung-ho on that, and I actually said a prayer, and I was like, Heavenly Father, if I have an idea to put the Bible study on YouTube, or excuse me, on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
And I was like, if that's something that you would be cool with, just give me a sign if you can. And so I prayed that prayer. That was on the 3rd of July. On the 4th of July, we were at the pool for a neighborhood event, and two young kids that are part of our bigger circle, they were kind of off in the distance a little bit. But they were like, you feel like someone's staring at you.
Yeah.
So I felt someone staring at me. So I felt them staring, and I just walked over, and then I was like, hey, you guys having a good day? Y'all having fun and everything? And they looked at me, and I'm not joking. They said, Mr. Adam, we think you should be on YouTube. We think you should start a YouTube channel.
There you go.
And I said that prayer the night before. So I was like, God, yes, sir. So that's how it started. And, I'll save this story for another day, but I have had a real supernatural encounter with God, and it wasn't from a place of duress or stress or a family member wasn't sick and I prayed for a miracle. I was honestly just sitting there chilling.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like, he was like, hey man, I got to wake you up real quick. And he did. And so that's, that was kind of the genesis of that. And next thing you know, I was like, hey, I want to start a YouTube channel. I want it to be a faith-based YouTube channel. I still love doing real estate, and I still love taking care of my friends, my family, my past clients, everything. But this year has had some major, amazing life changes that led to me wanting to get more into a ministry type field or world, because I think back on all the things that God's done for me, and it's like, man, like if I can just encourage anybody who's going through something or struggling with this, that, or the other, even if you're not struggling, I just wish more people would put their faith in him.
Right.
Or at least try to learn who he is, because, and the more you learn about the Bible, the more you learn all these beautiful stories. And I think so many people have such a big misconception of like, you got to live this rigid, hardcore lifestyle or else you're not going to heaven. And it's when you really get in there and read, it's like, man, God just wants a relationship with you. And the stronger that relationship gets, the better everything else gets. I think things clearly now. I think through things in a more rational sense, and like things that I can't control. It's like, all right, yeah, that's out of my control. Why am I going to spend time worrying about that?
Yep.
And so, yeah, that's kind of the short version of it, even though I kind of took a couple minutes. But yeah, I don't even say it's a passion, because I feel like, we can say motorcycles are your passion or something, but I've had
Could be a calling.
Oh man, I feel it as a spiritual calling, because the things that used to be important to me last year, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, completely flipped upside down. And like for the first time in my life, I'm actually in a point where like I put God first, and I'm like, if I do this, is that going to disappoint God? And I used to never think that way. And so now it's like, all right, if I don't let God down, then I'm probably not going to let my wife down. And I'm probably going to not let my daughter down, or my son, or my friends, or my family, or my job. And it's just the waterfall effect of putting him first has changed my life. And yeah, I hope more people are able to get on that journey too. And yeah, so yeah, that's why I started the YouTube channel, and it's there. It's there to be encouraging for someone. And I know also too, I look at how I used to act and live. I mean, I've been to jail. Like I've lived a messy life, and I think, I'm hoping I can be this motivation, because I think some people might think like, oh, well, I live this way, church isn't for me. It's like, man, you couldn't be further from the truth. I used to live that way, trust me, and I can't get enough of church.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's it. But man,
that's exciting.
I appreciate it.
It's exciting, dude. And you've got 4 episodes out, or 5?
I think we might have 6 or 7 now.
Okay.
I said I can't keep up with it, but
I gotcha.
It's more of like a, I'll hit a Sunday service, or I'll be in my men's group, and like something will really speak to me, and it's like, all right, I want to put that out there, because I think it'd be encouraging for someone else to hear. And
yeah,
and like, I'm coming at it from a very simple mind, or a simple approach of, don't overthink it.
Right.
Really don't overthink it.
Yeah.
You start putting your faith in Jesus, and then the rest of things will start to sort themselves out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And like, I pray now. It's like, hey, anytime, like, God, if there's something in my life that needs to be removed, like, please cast it out, man. I'm in.
I'm so glad. That is the most dangerous prayer you can pray.
Oh, yeah.
Because the moment those words leave your mouth, you better be ready to lose everything.
Yeah.
Because you'll soon realize that you're not walking the walk he's called you to do.
Yeah.
I remember, man.
Absolutely. But I mean it with every ounce of my body, man. Like I would, going back to like the real estate stuff and being nationally ranked, like I'm thankful for that opportunity and it's cool. But that is so far removed from what's important to me that, I mean, I have a new calling now. And yeah, I mean, I'm at the point where like,
Yeah.
if that's got to go, then so be it, because I know what's more important.
Yeah.
And it's him.
Right. And that's just, you never know how it's going to be used or how, one part of your life is going to be brought up to be your actual, like, your story. It's hard to say because you live a life and then you hit certain points in your life where it's just like, I've got to have some sort of calling or else I would not be alive.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, like there's several times where I could have died. I should have died, stuff should have happened, but I walked through it unscathed.
Yep.
Or learned my lesson.
Yep.
And I have a story to tell, and I can get in front of people that I usually wouldn't be able to get in front of and
Absolutely.
talk to them. And I think it's because, I don't know, I prayed that prayer, take everybody out of my life that doesn't need to be in my life and take everything, that I'm doing and take it out, and I got fired the next day.
Oh,
all of my friends walked away from me. Fortunately, my family stuck by my side throughout this whole entire. Like I put them through a roller coaster in my life, and it's interesting to look back and see kind of like you never know until you're at the end of your life how everything comes together to prove God's point, and and you just gotta walk. And I prayed the prayer too. It's like, God, you gotta carry me because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. Just lead me and guide me. And I think. And this is something I think that he's given me the idea to do. And I'm just going to do it. If it doesn't work, it's going to lead me into something that does work.
Man, it's going to work.
Yeah.
You're going to be successful in whatever you do. But I think that's one of the biggest things now is like how much of an impact you can have on people. Yeah. And I don't think people should squander it. I mean, I think if you got a good story to tell and something valuable to provide, you should be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're called to do as Christians. We're supposed to live a good life. I mean, the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, kindness, self-control, gentleness, all that. I mean, that's free. That's supposed to be given out and given to other people. And you leading by a good example could impact somebody else.
Trying to lead by a good. I am by no means perfect. So please do not look at me and say I should be perfect.
Hey, I'm not a Bible master or scholar. There's only one person in there who was perfect. So good news.
Yes.
Neither one of us.
We are starting out on a good foot, knowing that we are okay.
Perfect.
We are okay.
Yes. We're decent humans.
Trying to make an impact on the world for the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way you should.
That's
be.
hilarious.
You should always
Yeah.
leave things better than you found it.
Yeah.
And I want to leave the world better than I found it. And I mean, like I said, if I can just be an example, or you can be an example of like, hey, look, I was here. Now I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Still very far from where I want to be.
Yeah.
But I'm not back there anymore.
I can put a pin on when my life changed.
Really?
From when I was almost homeless, I was a lot in debt.
Yeah.
To where I am today, I can put a pin on the exact instance where I knew it changed. I don't know where I'm going, but I know the exact date where I was, though, what made me say that prayer.
Yeah.
And then the next day, everything broke loose. And that was the road to recovery and healing. I'm still on it.
Yeah.
Still on it. It's a constant.
Well, it's a constant battle, man. I mean, it's very rewarding to hear men that I look up to say they still struggle. Now, their struggles are PG-13 struggles. You know what I mean? But to think about certain things that I wanted removed from my life that now are gone, and it's just like that's not part of my life anymore. And like that's such a relief. And like I said, just as a dad, more than anything, I want to make sure that I can look my kids in the eyes and just be like, hey man, like been there, done that. I don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
Just trust me.
That's a great point. And I'm going to say this. I don't know if it's going to make it in or not, but to be a Christian your whole life and not struggle with some things, the demons, being possessed, having alcoholism, having a different girl every night. Like those are stories you never hear told in church.
Yeah.
But those are stories people live. and they're still living today. And I feel like people need to know that it is okay to come from that background to enter into a place of worship or the church. Like, you hear a lot of the stories of the people that were raised and like, I had these bad thoughts one day. Well, I killed somebody. What do you got for that? Jesus still died for you. He still loves you. He doesn't care. Sorry, I'm on a soapbox.
I love it.
Where I come from is a place of darkness. Like, I grew up in the church, I think like 5 years old or something like that. I left at 16 years old, I think, 16 or 17. The moment I was able to make a decision not to go to church, I made it. Joined the Marine Corps, experienced a lot of life.
Yeah.
A lot of bad life.
And that's,
And all the things. And I think it's important for people to understand that a church is not, a church is full of hurt people trying to get healed. And it's okay if you're one of those people too.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, the road to redemption is, it's a long road, and I might not even use that correctly, but maybe not even, I'm not going to say salvation, but yeah, it's the people you see along the way are not a bunch of perfect people,
Right.
by any means. And I didn't grow up in church. I always just had there was something bigger than me, learned about Jesus, and then I was like, all right, I'm in. But I never gave him the time or the respect. And then, the more I surround myself with other men, it's amazing seeing these good, strong men, but then you hear their struggles too. And you're like, all right, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
There is hope and salvation for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is as simple as trusting Jesus.
Yeah.
I think real tough men now are men that follow Jesus because, I've had people make comments to me on my little YouTube channel, and I'm not even anything important.
Yeah.
I just got a few followers, but I've already had people reach out to me in a negative way, and it's like, all right, I'll take that one on the chin. Like, you're not going to bother me, but I think to me, it's easier to live for God, but on the earth, it's harder because of everything that is constantly thrown at you. Temptation in one way or another, or, go to this party or go look at that, or, it's like, hey man, that's not for me anymore.
Yeah.
But I think the tougher people on this planet are people who follow Christ and live.
I think they're gonna.
that way.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to be, because in the end times, stuff's gonna get real.
Oh yeah.
Like there's gonna be some very interesting things that strong men are gonna have to deal with, and that's gonna be a part of life. But I know you're on a time limit today. Wrapping up, I wanted to touch on one more thing, and that's your real estate team. In the real estate realm, your team had a remarkable year in 2024. I'm going to read this so I don't get it wrong. Serving 92 families, making you the 11th in Alabama. 30 million in sales volume, making you the 13th in the state. That's a huge accomplishment.
I'm very thankful.
That's a huge accomplishment. I don't know if you touched on it, but where did you start your journey in real estate? How did you get involved, and what led you to build the team that you saw in 2024?
So yeah, after high school, moved to Auburn. I went to the community college down there. Couldn't even cut it there. But then I got into some trouble, which led me to come home. And my parents, they were basically like, hey, you got to figure something out. So it's either military or military. So that was about to be my path. I actually met with the recruiter, and I still have my recruiting papers somewhere.
No kidding.
In my house. Yeah. But thankfully, and then what I will say, by the grace of God, well, I shouldn't say that, because I think it's such an honorable thing to serve our country. I didn't do it. My wife actually then stepped into my life, and she was just a girl at the time, but met her, and then her best friends were realtors. And so we went out to dinner with them, and we all got along and everything, and they already had a family real estate team. And they were like, have you ever thought about getting into real estate? And I was like, don't even know what that means, but I got to find a job. If not, I'm going to the military. So I ended up getting my real estate license, and I was with an amazing team over at RE/MAX for a while, and I have nothing but great things to say about them. Then ended up going to Amanda Howard's office, and everything was great there. And thankfully, my business was growing, and it got to the point where not to take anything away from Amanda or the brokerage, but I got to the point where I was able to just work leads that were just from my sphere, past clients and friends, and word of mouth. And So I got to the point where I felt comfortable going out on my own and not relying on someone, providing me stuff. So I stepped out on my own and I just became an independent agent at the brokerage. And again, things were still doing this, and I'm still incredibly thankful for all that. But then it got to the point, where I wasn't able to keep up. And quality of life was great financially, but like family life was going, because, I'm always on the phone. I'm showing houses or meeting with people at 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And, and I just realized that, man, I'm missing out on the good stuff at home. I'm missing out on my kids and bath time and all that. So that sparked me wanting to start a team, and started the team in 2021. And it started off with just 3 of us, and now there's 7 of us. I never really planned on getting into real estate to have a team, but yeah, thankfully I was at the point where I was busy. I was so busy that I needed help with my business. And I had friends who were at jobs that they couldn't stand, for one reason or another. And they're like, man, I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this job. And I was like, I'm going to have to start a real estate team.
There you go.
They're like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, I was calling you to see if I get my license.
Just made the decision today.
Yeah. And so again, I think that's like the cool thing that God does for you. Is like he puts ideas in your head, and then he puts people in your path. And like, those are people that were not happy where they were at. We were able to start working together. And then now, yeah, I mean, like you mentioned that right there, we, did over 30 million last year. And this year we've already done over $40 million.
Wow.
And we're in a very down market.
Yeah.
Again, that's not to say anything bad, but I heard a stat that North Alabama or HAR itself is like our market is down 60% from what it was last year.
Wow.
And we've eclipsed $40 million as a very small team.
That's incredible.
So yeah, and that's, all props to my team and stuff. Cause, again, like I said, the wanting to like go to the awards banquets at the brokerage and get all the glass and stuff. And again, I'm so thankful for the opportunity, and I still have the trophies from it. But I think it's just so neat to be able to teach people how to do it, and teach them what I think is the most beautiful part of the job is you can carve out a really good life for yourself, but still be very present for your family. And you can still go on your vacations, or you can still go run that errand, or you can still go do jiu-jitsu at lunch.
Right.
And so I still think it's one of the coolest jobs ever.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting because, I think the benefit is being able to write your own day. But then it's also funny, with that said, is like people get out of the 9 to 5 thinking they can only work whenever they want to. That's the best reaction. You're like, when you start work, the moment my eyes open is when I start work, man.
That's it, man. I will show my wife in the morning sometimes, because we get up about like 5 or 5:30, 5:50, and I'll show her my phone, and I'll be like, this is what I'm already dealing with. And the sun's not even awake yet. It's black outside. And I think that is one of the big misconceptions. I think people think realtors just drive around in nice cars and make a few phone calls and make a couple $1 million. It's like,
just like that.
Gosh, it's so
just like that.
I mean, I had to pay my dues. What I would consider, I had to pay my dues for a good 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
Of really humping it to get to the point where I'm not complacent, but I'm just like I don't need as much as I used to. Yeah. And I'm thankful to just provide for, help provide for other people.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because the last couple of years have not been typical traditional real estate. Starting with 2019, we had COVID. That made the market something I don't want to see again, to be honest with you, because that was wild. Like, homes 2 hours on the market, gone.
Oh man,
like didn't have like
waiving inspection.
Yeah, yeah. What's wrong with you?
Dangerous. I never recommended it.
Yeah. Well, you knew who was doing it. It was all these out-of-state buyers that were waiving the inspection because they did not care.
Yeah.
Like for the families that were legitimately purchasing a home.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people.
But you're right though. It's been a weird year, and it's like, and then people always talk to me about getting into real estate, and I'm just like, man, I'd be lying if I said like, I mean, I don't know what to expect next year.
I was gonna say, looking back, like, would you have done it? You did it now. Like, would you be in real estate now?
Absolutely. Because man, like I said, it's for not to go back to the God stuff, but man, I can't really attribute it to anyone else but him. But to be a mediocre high school student who barely got any college done, to being arrested a few times, to being just an absolute buffoon of a person, to humble brag, I'm not bragging, but like to make the amount of money that I made and make, and to be able to help other people and stuff like that. Yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything, because I do think it's a, for me, it's a compelling story, because again, I'm not, by no means am I a rags to riches, but I'm more of like a, hey man, if you just put some responsible time and effort into this, you can make a really good life for your friends and your family. And when I say make it for your friends, like being there for your friends, just not being tied to a desk, because I do have severe ADHD. So like the thought of sitting at a desk all day, I don't know.
That was not for you.
No, I wouldn't make it. And thankfully, my family knew that too. I mean, once they realized how I really was, they're like, all right, man, college ain't for you.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe you do need to go to the military.
Yeah. But I don't know if you got that.
Yeah.
You'd be picked on to death.
Yeah.
In the military if you had that.
But yeah,
focus.
to say I would change anything, I mean, obviously, yeah, I probably could have done things differently, but no, man. I mean, prime example, just be sitting here with you.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of other people are sitting at a desk right now waiting for it to turn 5 or 5:30, and I've got to hang out with you for an hour and a half. Like, how much, couldn't really ask for much more, man. So
yeah, wild lives we live.
Oh, for sure. It's a blessed one, that's for sure.
Awesome. Well, Adam, dude, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Appreciate
this is great.
Sitting down and having a good meal.
Yes, thank you for all this, and thank you, Steven, man. Big Steve.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was amazing, man. And I wish you all the success on this, man. And however I can ever help you, please let me know, because you're going to be able to do big things with this. So
Well, that's the hope.
I'm stoked for you.
Either it's good or it's bad.
No, it's
One of the two.
You're going to be successful in this. I'm confident.
And cool. Well, I appreciate it. Yep.
Thanks again, brother.
All right.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So we'll wrap it from there.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Later. Deuces.
This is awesome.
We talked way longer than I thought we were.
I'm happy.
Dude, that's awesome.
I could have kept going.
I know, right?
You know what I mean? That's what I love sitting here and hanging out with you.